up? What up? What up? Once again, it's your boy Tavares Ferguson. I'm here with my co-host Byron Evans, aka Buff, and Orazio Mancarella, and we are three brothers, no sense. Buff, tell the people what's on your mind.
Well, on a serious note, man, I'm a little upset at the sentencing of Amber Geyer, or however you say her name, down in Texas. Only getting 10 years, so I'm a little PO'd by that. But, we try to keep it light on this show as much as we can, so I won't dwell on it. But that does help me transition to, I need everyone listening that knows my wife to keep the pressure on her, put the pressure on her. She has been summoned for jury duty, and I think she's going to try to think of an excuse to try not to go. And Ferg, I gave her your tape, how we need more people of color on these juries. So keep the pressure on her. Don't let her escape jury duty if she's chosen. Hit her up on social media if you know her personally.
And Tab, not guilty. That's all we gotta say. Not guilty. Don't care. Not guilty.
Definitely. Unless, well, you know what that unless means.
Yeah.
All right, Razzie, what's up with you, man?
Nothing, man. Loving life right now, man. It's funny, Ollie. I'm a soccer coach. If y'all don't know,
have you ever played soccer?
I've never played soccer. Barely watched soccer.
I've seen pictures of you on a soccer field, but I don't know if you're a coach.
Yeah. I'm the assistant coach for the 5U, 6U Hoover Soccer Club, and I just let you know I'll be out there. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's fun. It's fun to give back, man. I mean, the kids really enjoy it and looking up. So anytime you guys get a chance to get out, mentor, help out in the community, let kids see us in these positions and looking up to us as coaches and stuff like that. That's a big deal, man. So y'all keep doing that if you're doing it. And if you haven't done it, go out and do it.
Definitely. That's why I made it a point to get involved in the Lamplighters and bring it to Houston, Texas, because I think mentorship is huge, and not just at the kids level. It's also, I think mentorship is a lifelong commitment, not only to mentor, but to also be mentored. So, I've been talking to you guys about that, and maybe that's a conversation for another day, but keep doing what you're doing. For me, I'm going to bring it up again. This time tomorrow, I will be in Tallahassee for homecoming. I'm so excited. Can't believe it's 20 years. I feel old. Well, I'm not even saying I feel old. It sounds like it was a long time ago, but I still feel young. But I'm excited to see my classmates, excited to see my friends, and I want to send a shout out to the class of 99. We had a goal to raise $199,999.99 to contribute to a FAMU scholarship, and we just hit our goal. So I think, as far as I know, that's the largest donation any single class has given to the university thus far. So hats off to my class. Money's still rolling in. Proud of you guys. Proud to be part of it. So Walt, Nikki, everybody that was involved, great job. We're going to have a great time this weekend. By the time you guys hear this episode, I will be recovering, and hopefully I make it through homecoming 2019 safely. And since I gave FAMU that great plug, let's give Anchor a plug now, fellas.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
All right, we're back. Three brothers, no sense. And as we said on the last episode, we're going to try something a little different. So this is usually my favorite part of the episode, but I think it still will be this time.
Oh, wow.
It's usually his favorite part because he gets to go first. He gets to hear his self-talk.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. No, I just want to make sure. I don't know what these questions are going to be. So, but I have faith in our listeners. So This episode, we're fielding questions from the audience. So we've asked listeners to throw some questions at us, and we'll try to get in as many of them as possible. So, Byron, I will start with you because I think one of our big listeners, she contributes to our dialogue and conversation all the time. So I want to start with you. What do you have for us, sir?
Okay. Well, first off, we got this. We all work in, I guess you could say corporate America or whatever. Mm-hmm. So this is for you too. And I hope everybody that's listening will think about this question as well. And I like 2-part questions. So
of course,
do either of you guys participate in code switching? And what I mean is, if you have white coworkers, white supervisor, is it, hey, Tim, how's it going today? Nice to see you. But then when you get around your black people, it's like, what's up, bro? What's going on? Oh, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you change how you talk around predominantly black people versus, your white coworkers? And, well, let me let you answer that first. Then I'll come with the part 2 of it.
You want me to jump in or you want to, Razi?
I'll play it out first because it's funny. I actually had that question in my list to ask.
Man.
Boom, it takes one off of me anyway. So of course, yes, yeah, all day long, every day. Do y'all remember the Key and Peele skit?
Yes.
Where the Barack Obama, and he's going down and he's like, hey, sir, what up?
That skit was based off a real video too.
Was it?
Yes.
So we're gonna have to post that because that's one of the biggest things about minorities, and especially I'd even say strictly black people, is they can really transition seamlessly in any situation. And it really kind of comes from being in the hood, because if you grew up in the hood, you learned that speech pattern, how to talk to people like that. And then when you go into that other environment, you're going to speak differently because that's how they speak in that environment. You don't want to stick out. I can't be talking jive, as they say back in the 70s, in jive turkey. You can't talk jive in the office and be respected. So yeah, you got to code switch. You have to be able to speak the language that makes sense. And I don't just code switch from like a quote unquote black speech to a white speech. I have to code switch from the Army to my corporate job. So I can't go in talking about, all right, here's my objective and I want to do this and I'm going to flank this. And, and Ferg, you remember when we were in Afghanistan and First Sergeant was like, all right, we're about to go back in civilization. Y'all got to stop cursing. And me and Ferg was like, what the F is he talking about? Like, we don't curse that effing much. Like, you have to code switch between those. Jenica even tells me when I come home from drill, I curse more. And so, like, being able to switch between those is being able to really seamlessly go between those different environments and really be able to feel comfortable and make people feel comfortable with you. Because if you don't do that, you're going to end up being an outlier and you're going to get ostracized. You're not going to get the promotion because, unfortunately, they look at AAVA, African American Vernacular something, whatever the other A is in it. They look at that as less than. Like, if you're speaking like that, you're going to be looked upon like you're not as smart. And so unfortunately you have to learn how to speak proper English and to speak the corporate speech. And you have to be able to do that in different industries too. So like I said about the military, but if you're in marketing or whatever, you got to learn how to speak in that. For talk about sales, you got to learn how to speak like that. If you're an engineer, you're talking differently. So you have to talk in the environment that you're in all the time. And so, yeah, I do it long and short.
Yeah, I definitely do it. My current position in our sales role for our I'm in a national wide sales organization. And I'm the only black guy in our sales division in our whole. So when I go to corporate meetings and stuff like that, I stand out. And I almost like the tip situation. I feel like I have to represent for my people. You know, I walk a certain way, I talk a certain way, I dress a certain way, just to make sure there's nothing they can say about me. And also I believe in building your brand. So when you mention Tavares Ferguson, these are things that you need to say. Why is that so important? For the reasons Risey said. Is it right? I don't agree with it. But I will say at my last company, it was hilarious because we had a better mixture from the time I first started there to the time I left. We, the Black Caucus grew. So we actually still have a group. We still text each other, BPM Black People Meet. So my old manager, brilliant young lady. I mean, probably one of the smartest people I've met, especially when it comes to sales and the way she can navigate through a crowd, ended up becoming my manager. And most of the black people in our office, or at least in that region, end up being on her team somehow. So we used to call our office the black hole. So we go in a black hole and it went straight ethnic. I mean, it went straight. And so the hilarious thing is if a white person came in there, they were in the black hole. It's no sugarcoating it. It's like, you're with us now. Like if you're in here, we're not about to tone it down. You know, and that was like our safety net. We'll go in there and vent. We'll go in there and say what we need to say. You know, we can have a meeting with everybody and be extremely professional in how we address it. And then we'll go in the black hole and be like, oh Lord, now did you hear what she just said? Or you got to express a little better, still keeping it professional, but it was still kind of, you were able to relate and I guess get your message across a little better to the people that you're around. But that's probably out of all the companies I've worked for, the most comfortable, just because there was a larger group of us, even in leadership roles. So, yeah, I do it. Am I proud of it? I guess, I don't know. You know, I think that's the question. Are you proud of it? You know, would you tell if you were to tell your kids, hey, when you get around these white people, make sure you turn it on, because that's what daddy and mama do. I mean, but that's part of the game. So,
you know, we always do. All of us did it. Like growing up, you know, mama answered the phone and put on her white voice.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's what happens. But I had a question for you. So when y'all were in the black hole and you say, you know, if they were a white person or whatever came into the black hole, did they code switch? Did white Mike come in talking about what up?
Some people would try, but I mean, the conversations were just, it was hilarious. I mean, we talked a certain way. We talked about certain things, you know. This was during the Barack presidency. This was during the Trump run, you know. If you're coming in here, you're about to hear Trump bashing. You know, that was about to happen. We get out in the regular area, we're not talking about that. You know, we get out in the general public, we're not talking about me not watching football. You know, it's like you say, you got to fit in. You don't want to cause too much of a ruckus or to make yourself stand out unnecessarily. But also, I think is it code switch?
Yeah.
You do it. It's playing the game and giving them persona, like, because they never get to really meet the real me. The black hole got to meet the real me. Code switch me is probably it's not a fake version of myself, but it's just still not the real me. Like, I'm giving you what you need to see and hear for me to get the job done. You'll never hear my true thoughts or things like that. So, well, we've been talking for a while. Fill us in. What's your take on it?
So the essence of this question is based on race, obviously, but I think overall we do some form of code switching in all aspects of life. When you first meet a woman for the first time, you know, I revert back to a lot of the Chris Rock jokes, but like you said, you're not meeting them, you're meeting their representative. You're meeting their very best version of them. And as you date them and get to know them, that's when you learn the real version of them. So I think we all do it. And Ferg, you kind of answered my second part. I was going to ask, are you proud of it? And for me, I mean, I don't think about it. It's just, I talk with so much slang when I'm around people like you guys and stuff. For me, I hate repeating myself. So if I would have just, quote, keep it real and just talk how I always talk, I would be repeating myself all day to those white folks on Capitol Hill. Like, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? Why are you calling me champ right now? I don't understand. So it's just knowing your environment, man, and just trying to get through the day. So Ferg told me that he isn't sure if he's proud of it, Rozzy. You sound like you are proud. Like, yeah, I code switch, I play the game, I do what I got to do. Is that, am I right?
Definitely. I'm definitely proud that not only that I do it, but that I can do it.
So that's the difference. The fact that you can is different, because everybody can't do it. Because I'm pretty sure we've all been in an environment like, oh my God, please don't let her talk. Please don't let her talk.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We've been there,
and you know what? When you asked, I think the co-worker name was Mike, if he came in there and tried to code switch for you guys, I actually don't like when white people try to do it. It's almost offensive when they try to code switch. Yo, what up, man? You don't talk like that. Don't do that, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, when they left, we probably laughed at them. It's kind of, it's not like, oh, Mike's cool. It's like, he tried to be so cool. It's almost a joke. Like we see through you. You're doing it.
You never know though. You going back to This Is Us last night.
Byron, you caught up?
Have you caught up yet? You saw last night?
Saw the first episode. I did not see last night. No spoilers.
Man, this is gonna be FBI.
Okay. So, this is a small spoiler. But so there's a scene in This Is Us where Kevin, they're flashing back to the young kids right there at the pool, and Kevin is singing Rex in Effect. And he can sing it better than Randall can.
Better. So, Randall didn't know any of the words.
He know none of the words and then and they deal with some black kids, and the black kids be like, "Why your brother blacker than you?" So it might have been that he, White Mike, as I made a joke about it, but White Mike might have grown up being able to talk like that. He may have grown up listening to rap. As hip hop has expanded, so a lot of times that has set that. Some people talk like that. There are white kids that talk like that. They may not live the struggle and grew up like we grew up, but they that's how they talk. We can talk about, what was that? The movie Beverly Hills Gangsta, whatever it is.
No, I know what you're talking about. Oh man, Malibu's Most Wanted.
I was gonna say Beverly Hills of Malibu. Yeah,
Malibu. Yeah.
So
B Rabbit.
Before we get to the next question, though, I do want to say there is a difference between, because you mentioned speaking black, there is a difference between speaking white and code switching. I code switch, but I'm not talking like, I don't change the pitch in my voice.
Yes.
You know what I mean? so I don't want y'all to get confused.
And that's what I was going to go at. You said champ. Like, I don't think we talk that much slang where we have to really completely turn it off. Like, you might have to watch what you say or make sure you're speaking the Queen's English a little more, but we're not, speaking Ebonics, I guess, for a lack of a better word, where we know how to talk, period. And usually when we talk to each other, we're still talking.
I mean, kids learn how to code switch from the earliest of the earliest ages, when not to cuss in front of your mama, don't you? You can't hold a curse word back when you out there and with your friends on the, y'all out there playing. But as soon as you walk in the house, the curse word ain't coming out your mouth.
But so that's a good example, because going back to the second question about being proud of it, are your kids doing that out of a sign of respect, or they're doing it to fit in? Because if you're code switching for the wrong reason, or you're code switching, the reason I say I don't know if I'm proud of it is we all have kids on here, and to me, at the end of the day, we're telling our kids not to be themselves or not to be proud of who they are. It's like, you have to, almost like with the black names or the hair, like, you need to fit this mold to fit in at all times. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying their way is better than yours or right. Or this is what you have to do. And
I don't think I'm telling them that. I'm telling them that that's the majority. That's what the society is right now. You need to know how to fit in if you want to be able to move in that society. Like I don't think that's a thing of saying you have to lose yourself and you have to not be yourself.
Well, and it's funny that you had this question because in another group I'm in, we were talking about, they posted an article about suits being outdated, and somebody else posted an article about suits always will be in style and all that stuff. And one of my frat brothers is a lawyer, and he always talks about going against the grain. So he'll go to a deposition, show up at a deposition in like a snapback jeans and a polo, and he'll walk in and the receptionist is looking at him like, do you have an appointment? And he'll run into the other lawyer or something like that. And it was like, is your lawyer here? Are you waiting on your lawyer? And it's like, no, dude, I am the lawyer. So he's like, me being me or me dressing like me or being comfortable doesn't change my ability. Now he's in a position he can do that. And I think also to a certain extent, he uses it to his advantage because they underestimate him. And then when he hits them with the real game, they're like, I didn't expect this in this young black guy with dreads and all this other stuff. Oh, he got his dreads. But, I didn't expect this was a young black guy with the snapback and all this stuff. But he's comfortable going against the grain. He doesn't march the beat of everybody else's drum. Do we need more of that? But I'm sure when he goes in. The question is, do we need more? Do we need more of that? Is it the norm because everybody conforms? Just like dress is changing, 10 years ago, you had to wear a shirt and tie and suit to places. Now it's more business casual as the baby boomers are retiring and Generation X and people are taking over. The workforce is changing.
So when the millennials are taking over, the millennials will be over half of the workforce by the end of next year. So for the first time in recent history, the baby boomers will not be the majority in the workforce. So we are open to more things. It's just like you're seeing these articles where women are able to wear natural hair. 10, 15 years ago, it was taboo. Get a perm, do this with your hair because that's the norm. Baby, you can't do this with your hair. And it's the same thing with that, the way we talk or code switch. Are we doing this and just continuing on their master plan instead of saying, you know what? They heard me the first time. They need to learn how to understand what I'm saying because I didn't say anything wrong. Maybe not all the time, but like you're slowly kind of getting them groomed to the new world. So I might not code switch as much now.
Who's next?
All right.
I'm gonna go last since I always go first. So you're not first, you're last.
So I'll go next. For me, I got a question from a friend of mine after, I guess, last night. So I got it this morning. Blackish, again, one of my favorite shows. And they're going through an arc now where they're cutting Junior off. And the person was like, hey, can y'all talk about supporting your kids when they grow up? So, or cutting them off. Like we hear so many times when my child turns 18, they out of the house. And a lot of other cultures don't do that. So would you cut your child off when they get older? How long they can stay in the house? When are you actually going to force them out? How is that going to work?
So originally I was very sexist on this answer because I always said if I had a son, I definitely would be pushing him out the house a lot sooner than I will with my daughter, Jasmine. So she can pretty much, as long as she's doing what she's supposed to be doing, like in school or saving, be 25 and stay here if you need to, sweetheart. But if it was a boy, hey man, how much longer you got? But I would hope if I had a son that I would be as enlightened as I am now. And I think there's something to that our culture, is such in a rush to push our kids out. And you actually can help them set up to be successful if you let them save their money, don't have to waste money on rent, can go out and purchase their first home, can have money like Susie Orman always says, like, have 3 months worth of emergency. You know what I mean? Yeah. Have all that set up instead of pushing them out there to where they're starting off struggling from the start, because they got like a part-time job or an entry-level job or whatever, and trying to make it. So I would like for us to kind of turn that trend, but I think we also need to look at the source on why we do that. And I think a lot of times because so many of our families struggle, our parents have struggled, their parents have struggled, that, hey, let's be honest, one less mouth to feed helps them. They struggle for those first 18, 19, however long you stay. So when it's time for you to go, I can understand where they're coming from. Where, hey, my lights are always on. I can really use this financial boost by you leaving. So I'd like to see us turn that around, but I do understand why it's there.
Or to the other point where if they're staying there, they become almost like a roommate. There's so many expectations. Well, you need to give me this much for rent, this much for gas, yada, yada, yada.
Good point.
So, which I'm not saying is wrong. I think, like you said, it was our norm on how we grew up and how we survived. And we're just replicating that. And we've been doing it for generations. I'm not with allowing my kids to stay with me. I'm actually encouraging it. Okay. I think it should be more of that, where we're saying, and every kid is different. You said something, as long as they're willing to follow your rules. If you get to a certain age, you're not willing to follow my rules and hopefully I'm mature enough to understand that you're not a kid anymore. There's certain allowances. I was 18 and, 19. So I have to understand that you are becoming an adult. You do deserve certain freedoms, but at the end of the day, and as long as it doesn't disrupt my house. So first of all, my household. My wife is always the most important thing. So when you're in there and it's disrespecting my wife, or, you're 18, 19, you want to bring your little girlfriend home to the house. Like, hey, your girlfriend's not spending out at my house. It's just, that's what it is. If you want that type life, you need to live out on your own, because I don't need that under my roof disrespecting your mother. But at the same time, if you're willing to, hey, go get a room. I think one of y'all did that when y'all were young. Y'all might have got a room or two. I wasn't about that life. I was going to church. I was being a good Christian young man. And Byron's not even looking at it. But that dude wasn't even looking at it.
Doesn't even dignify a response.
But what I mean is, there's so many benefits to that. I think we spend so much time teaching our kids how to be kids and make sure they enjoy their childhood, that probably the time they need us the most, transitioning into adulthood, we leave them and let them find that on their own. Mm-hmm. Rising and I talk about college a lot. And I think one of the things that really separated us was the fact that his family, even though he was independent, his family was still really involved in his life. And not for a lack of love, but maybe for the lack of knowledge or knowing, my parents didn't necessarily do that for me. So when I walked out of the door at 18 to go off to the military and off to college, I was on my own from that point on. And I've been making every decision in my life, whether good or bad, since then. And I don't want my kids to have to go through that. It's not just financial decisions. It's things that you should be thinking about, things you should be understanding, focus on school more, focus on this. Hey, I know you're spending all this time with this girl. I know that you're in love, whatever the case may be. It can work, but that's not your priority right now. School should be your priority, or this should be your priority. You're really still instilling those things in them and helping them understand that, these are the years that are going to help set you up for a future. I think 18 to 25, if you can really maximize those years, I mean, you can set yourself up. Not saying you can't excel after that, but it makes life a lot easier if you make good decisions in your young years, which I didn't necessarily do. So I'm still paying for them now. But I mean, we should encourage our kids. It's, even after college, hey, once you graduate from college, the plan is if you don't have a job outside the city or outside of the state that's paying you X, A, B, and C, then you should move back home. Let's move back home for 2 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. Get a plan. Like, it's just not 18, 19. Go off to college, do your due. But
it's hard though, because how many people stay living on campus their sophomore or their senior year of college. They probably already got an apartment.
Yeah.
They probably already living on their own. So it's very hard if somebody goes off to college to say move back home.
Yeah, I get it.
Because, I think, but that ability for them to be able to come back home.
Yes, doors always open.
So, like you were talking about, it's the expectation. For me, it's not the expectation, but it's, hey, if you need to come back home, if it makes sense, let's talk through it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It financially, it needs to make sense. Like my thing is, you're 23, 24. Yeah, you making good money. Like hopefully your girlfriend, whoever you're dating, or boyfriend has an apartment or whatever the case may be. You can spend time with them. What I'm saying is, we're in Houston, if you take a job in DC and it's paying you 80, and you can take a job in Houston that's paying you 60, and I don't know the calculation, but that $20,000 difference while paying room and board in a city like DC is not really that big of a boost up. Mm-hmm. But if you can come here and make 60, save up for 2 years, it's going to be tough on everybody involved, and stay in the house for 2 years, save your money, pay off all this stuff, and put yourself in a better position long run. Because I've seen it done and I didn't understand it. In our community, you moving back in with your family is almost like you've lost.
You failed.
Man, I gotta move, man. That I moved back in with his mama for real? I thought he was doing good. That's how it goes. Mm-hmm. Not, hey, he moved back in.
So that he can pay all his student loans off.
Yeah.
Within the next 3 years and save up for a down payment on a house. So now he's 25 with a house.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make it sound easy, because if I had a son, I said I started my comment off by saying it would be sexist, but I think it's hard for two grown men to stay in the same house. And I just think if I had a son, once he gets 22, 23, that stuff, it's like it's going to be a lot of, head knocking.
You're right.
Same thing with my daughter, too. Like you mentioned, having a guy over, no, they can't use the room like that, but I also don't even want him helping himself to my refrigerator. Like, hey, whoa, what you doing, player? Like, what I mean? So it's not easy, but I'm definitely not going to force them out.
Yeah, and it's going to be, like I said, I think it's tough on everybody.
Yeah.
But in the long run, it was a tough 2 years. Your mom and I did everything we could for you. You're off on your own. You've been able to do some investments. You not only you're able to buy a house, we've set you up in the next 2 years to buy a rental property. You're making moves rather than, I graduated, moved out on my own, and helping them see the benefits. Like, hey, like you said, you have to work around. Like, hey, I don't need any dude you bring home and that you can bring home in my fridge. They're coming over. They need to bring food, or you need to buy food. You make good money. Don't go in my fridge.
Yeah. We even said, we were talking about, me and Jenica were talking about that, and we even said we're going to charge rent, but we're not going to actually take the rent. Basically, we're going to charge rent. We put it in a savings account for them, and that's them saving up for that down payment, whatever. So it's another way for them, one, to get used to paying a rent, paying a mortgage or whatever if they've never done it, and two, that's making them save and they don't even really know that they're saving.
Or maybe be in a position to have a rental property and just, you don't make profit of it. You get a decent size rental property, you might get a condo or something, or, you get something $80,000, $90,000. I don't know the mortgage on that. Risey probably could tell you, but you're teaching them how to, like you say, pay those bills. And if it's $500 a month, $600 a month for rent, you charge them that, break even, but you're teaching them how to pay those bills, how to do those things. You keep at it, and maybe you're putting that money aside for something. Hey, here it is. You stay with us for 2 years, pay $500 a month for 2 years. That is $12,000.
Yep. Here's
a down payment on your house. Mortgages is paid, whatever the case may be, or whatever the profit is. I got to think it through, but I think there's ways around it, but the big picture is just not forcing them. And I think because it's not just us forcing them out. For some reason in our world, the magic number is 18. When you turn 18, all of a sudden you're grown. 17, you were a kid. Tomorrow, when you turn 18, I'm grown. I'm a grown man. I'm 18 years old. It's like, why do we tell people, yes, you're legal, but what makes them think why we keep pushing the fact that you're grown at 18?
Yeah, because you get arrested at 16, especially being us. You grown anyway for them. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, so
Cool.
Anything else on that one, Buff?
Nah, we covered it all, man.
All right. So here's my question. So one of my homeboys, one of my line brothers, always talks about we just sound such like good guys and stuff like that, and we always seem like we have the perfect answers. Dude, so he wants to get down to the nitty. Yeah, like like my wife, I love my wife, yada yada yada. Oh. You know. He's like, sometimes we sound like our wives are sitting there with a noose around our neck when we're recording. So he's like, so let me ask you this.
Oh boy.
If it gets down to the nitty gritty, Indecent Proposal.
Uh-huh.
What is that magic number for that person that sleeps beside you every night that you love so dearly to be fair game for one night?
Oh,
because everybody's like, no, there's no amount of money, that can make me. And it's like, sounds great, but is there a real number? Everybody's leaning. Buff is leaning back in his chair. Risey's shaking his head. He don't know what the answer is.
No, I mean, I'll tell you, there's a number. I don't know what it is. There's a number. And me and her are gonna have to have that conversation about what that number is, what makes sense. But I mean, the thing about it is, we're not hurting for money, so it's not like it's going to be super life changing for us. I mean, it's just more money, more problems at that point. So for me, I don't know if it is a number, truthfully, because, I can't, we talked about me being jealous. I can't even have a dream about my wife having with somebody else without like being pissed. So there's no way that I know she is laid with some other guy and she come back and we get laid up and we boot up and we cool. I mean, you talk about Indecent Proposal. You saw what happened in the movie. Like that dude could not take it. He couldn't handle it. And so
they wound up together. They got back together.
Yeah, that's Hollywood. That's Hollywood. So because all that stuff, I mean, that was real life stuff. But
she could. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate because I know what he was. But she might go out there and do it for free though, dog.
Not my wife. Wife.
Ain't no dude alive. That's how it always starts.
So here's the real question. Here's the real question: is he going meet to meet?
Oh man! Oh, so that makes a difference.
That does make a difference.
Sir.
Meet to meet.
So, sir, for $5 million, you can use you have to use protection. Well, for 15.
That is
man. Wow.
I kind of like Razio said, I'm not sure what the number is. I do know it's a hell of a lot more than the $1 million in that movie.
Yeah.
Million ain't now. I think though I think whatever number we accept, I think Tabitha and I would have to agree that it's probably the end of our marriage, because I just don't think it's any coming back for that. And for us to accept that, and like Razio said, he made a good point. Like, we're not hurting for money. We always could use more money. That's, more money is always good, but we're not hurting for it. In the movie, I think they were hurting for it. Mm-hmm. So for me to accept that proposal and we're not even hurting for money, it would have to be an agreement where we'd be like, you know what? We didn't had a real good 20 years. Let's go and take this money, set Jasmine up for life. We can remain friends. If I come across you in travels, I'll speak and say what's up. But let's take this 30 mil a piece or something. I'm telling you, my number is so astronomical, it would never happen, whatever that number is. But I can't sit here and say that there's no number. Tabitha would probably give a perfect answer and say there's no number, but I'm calling BS on that. There's a number.
There's always a number.
There's a number. Yeah, that's a number.
So you just don't know what that number is. I'm the same way. I mean, it's not even that I'm jealous, but the way I look at my wife and the way I would not be able to look at her ever again, He's like, what is that number? Because it's almost like because like I said, my homeboy is devil's advocate. It's like, so man, y'all lying, because she can go out here and do it while you gone this weekend, like you got nothing out of it. Not saying anybody wives are cheap, but it's still just being realistic. Hey, nobody's hurting for cash. Nobody's hurting for cash. What is the difference in not hurting for cash and having $75 million in your bank account? And you said it's an astronomical number. It's a lot different from not hurting for cash and having $1 million cold hard cash, because we can say a crazy number just to say a crazy number. But when somebody says, here's a check for $1 million right here and there, it's easy to say, you would say no, but would you really? And I'm the same way. In my heart of hearts, I'm saying no, but it's just like, it's that question. Like, there's so many different factors, and you say no and you get a divorce 2 years from now anyway. It's like, man, I should have took that. It's like
Jenica probably say no because like I'm gonna call all kind of prostitutes. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be walking in the kitchen. I'm like, look at this prostitute right here, like, because that's all you doing.
Well, I'm a rich prostitute, like like it's I don't know what that magic number is, man. I think what you guys said, because I don't remember the movie. It's been God knows how long, but I feel like, did they talk about the number?
Yeah. They initially said no. So it was like, dude was like $1 million. They were like, no. And like Byron said, they were like, they started running on the hard times, and they looked at the bills that was over there and everything, and they were like, let's do it. And matter of fact, I think he said no and she went and did it anyway. Or something like that. And that part I don't remember.
I think that's what happened. So the question here's a backup question. Does it matter who it is?
Yes.
Like if it's some.
So like if Trump come and offer that, we not getting back together.
Maybe not Trump, because Trump's like the ultimate. But I'm just saying like some random bill from accounting. It's some random dude that's like, he's not about to do what I do. Like, does it make a difference? Or you see Stennis come back out.
Yeah.
He got bigger and badder.
You got to size him up. Like I said, when I was like, yeah, she can have friends, but he got to be ugly. Like, for male friends. But it's one of those things, man. I
Bill Gates.
Like Byron said, we have to be under the understanding that our marriage is probably over after this.
So Bill Gates,
we not staying together after this.
Bill Gates offer you $100 million. It's Bill Gates.
We probably gonna take it and go our separate ways at that point. Like $100 million might be the number.
Here's the better question. I shouldn't even say the better question, but the question should be, what amount can be offered that you got to at least discuss it with your wife? Like, you can't just dismiss it. Like, they come with you with a number, you're like, man, I mean, let me talk to her. Let's see.
So I come to you. I ain't even give you so Byron, dog. Like, you know what? I've known you for a while, bro. I've always thought your wife was attractive, dog. I'm ready to make you an offer to let me sleep with her. And before you punch me in my face, I'm like, but I can offer you $100 million right there.
$100 million is definitely a conversation.
25. Okay, well, if I start at 10 million.
No to $100 million, they lying.
Yeah. No, at 10 million probably.
At least talk about it.
10 million. Yeah. So what would you talk about? I think that maybe that's a better question. So do I hear 5 million?
Not enough.
Nah.
10?
Nah. I think it's got to be upwards of that 100 million.
10. Now, you know what 10 million is?
But if I can have 30 million, so if the offer is, because she gonna want her cut too. So if the offer is 60 and I get 30, we can talk.
Would y'all stay together?
See, I don't know. See, the male, I'm one of the few people.
Bill Gates though. It's Bill Gates. It's not. Who's her fantasy dude? Who
Tabitha?
Yeah.
I don't think she would tell me. It's probably Stringer Bell though. It's Stringer Bell or
Elba.
What's that singer? Miguel. I think she likes him. She says I exaggerate, but she likes him.
I mean, Miguel might not be a problem, dog. Like Miguel's so tiny. Dude, like he's like, isn't he like 5'1" or something like that? He's like,
I don't know, but don't be hating on short people, man.
No, I'm not talking about like dude's tiny, dude.
Oh, okay. He like Cat Williams 5'3" or whatever.
He's like Cat Williams tiny.
Okay.
But I'm talking about like if it's Idris Elba, like he coming there with his accent and everything and offer you that $60 million.
I'll probably take it because Jenica probably ain't coming back. I was like, cool. She ain't coming back.
Bill Gates.
So, because I think Idris is on Jenica's hall pass list anyway.
I'm gonna leave you list anyway. Yeah, because he might take it to her, and you might be shout $60 million.
You know what's messed up though? We asking for all this money if a man approaches us about sleeping with our wives. Let one of our crushes, our celebrity crushes, offer. We'll accept the lowest amount. We try to talk to our wife. Hey man, Rihanna said $80,000. I mean, babe.
Jasmine gonna probably take 10. She was like, "Go ahead, just do it. Go, get it out of the way."
Jasmine ain't gonna get no. She ain't gonna get no financial aid. You sitting there. This for the baby. This ain't for me. That's hilarious. So $60 million bare minimum for our wives.
Right.
We're going for a cool $60K.
We talk about $60 million and we'll go talk to our wife, but $60,000, we're like, hey,
Baby,
try to talk her into it.
I'm gonna go tell Rihanna you said no. I'll be back tomorrow. It didn't take you 7 hours to go tell Rihanna no.
Actually, it only took me 17 minutes.
Yeah, I was trying to think of an excuse for the last 6 hours.
I was trying to make it look realistic.
Oh man, that's bad, man.
We've done 3 questions. Do we have time for one more? Or do we want to? What are we gonna do with this?
I think
Raz, you the time guy. Okay, yeah. Who has another question for us?
I have another one, but I'll defer to you guys. I was gonna ask it on a later show, but
no, go ahead.
Go for it.
All right. Well, since we're talking about relationships and what can break them up, the other question is, do you think you could be with someone? And we try to stay away from politics on this show, but we talked about interracial dating and how that would work. Do you think you could be with someone that if you're a Democrat, that they're this far right, Candace Owens, Stacey Dash Republican? Do you think you could be with someone that has opposite, like complete opposite politics in your relationship?
I don't think so. And not necessarily because of the politics of it all. I think it's because the underlying personality of that person to me. You guys, the Stacey Dashes of the world, especially and you're talking about like the super polar opposite, right? Not like we're both kind of middle of the pack. They're a Republican, I'm a Democrat, but we still kind of moderates or whatever. But like if they're super duper right wing, Tea Party type person, I can't, because I'm too empathetic. And I really do say a lot of times that right wing is truthfully a lack of empathy. Like it's all about you're when you're on that right wing, it's pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's all about individual and personal responsibility, and you do whatever you're gonna do. And
but really she loves you though. But she loves you, Rozzy. She loves you.
She loves me, but she doesn't love the environment. She doesn't love society. She doesn't love people in general. Like it's one of those things that like she's gonna be mean to the poor person that's down on their luck, like, oh, they just not working hard enough. You know what I mean? And that just, to me, I can't really feel it. Now, there may be something that, they really believe the rhetoric, but they're kind of a good person all right, I don't want to say right-wing people aren't good people. Let me stop there.
Because that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, care about the environment. Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking, I'm not talking 90% of Republicans. So if you're a Republican, don't feel like I'm talking about you. I am talking about the far right wing of the Republican Party. Right. And that though we know it. They don't care about the environment. They feel like it's okay for us to dump toxic waste in the environment and everything else. They don't care about social services. They feel like, nobody should be on social services. We're redistributing wealth, and don't tax me to let the poorest of the poor be taken care of. So they don't care. I mean, let's just put it out there and call it what it is. And so I that doesn't sit well with me. I can't be with somebody who thinks like that. So, because I mess with Jenica all the time. I call her a Republican because she is way more conservative than I am. And I'm fine with that. My dad's a Republican. I'm fine with that. I mean, I'm not cutting my dad off because of that. But my dad's not a Tea Party super conservative, like screw everybody else type person. So that's a perfect example, really, of yes, it can work. A Republican and a Democrat. I mean, with my dad and my mom. But they disagree. We can have disagreements, and we can disagree on certain aspects of policy and those types of things. But when we're talking about the core of the far right's argument, I can't roll with that.
Yeah. If we're going like far right, then it just doesn't work, because I guess to mimic you, because when we're debating and we're talking about stuff, and I'm pretty sure you guys have done this, and you kind of take a step back. And maybe you haven't done this, where you're talking to somebody and you just start looking at them and it's like, are you even a good person? And I've been in that situation. And I mean, for one, being in the military, you see a lot of far right people. And I know one instance when our unit was almost split down the middle, because if there would have been an election that year, you would have seen it. It probably would have split us even more. But you could tell who. And actually, I probably unfriended a lot of those people in the last 2 to 3 years that I've been with friends with for almost 20 years. Mm-hmm. But because of some of their rhetoric. But when you see them and you hear some of the things they say, you're like, man, like, are you really even a good person? Like, I can't believe you just said, I understand why you feel this way. Like, but as a person, how can you really believe that? You remember the episode I was talking about, Razi? Mm-hmm. With we had an instance in Afghanistan where some American soldiers got shot, some Afghan nationals got shot. They came in together, and some of the people in our unit their true colors were showing. You're like, this dude literally shot himself in the head and shot his eyes out and is in pain, and you're making freaking jokes. And like, it's kind of like this dude is screaming in pain. It's probably like 25 years old, young guy. And you're sitting there like, how as a human do you even see anybody suffering? But when you start getting to know them more, you're like, you are that far right. This is a terrorist. He's a bad person, yada, yada, yada. You start believing in the propaganda and the rhetoric. I see why you feel this way. I understand you better by knowing your political views. And I can't, and to this day, I haven't seen those people the same way since then. So to be married or dating one, no. Then the question is, what if they were far left? What if they were too far the other way? Like, I think we're still kind of middle of the road, but like far right is one thing. Far left is still like, are you serious? Like, you want to do what for everybody? Come on now. Like,
I just, me personally, I don't know how. Like, yes, I could be like, if Tabitha's Republican, I think that could work. But like you guys say, when you start getting like to the fringe, to the far right, I don't know how you can date someone and make it to that stage of marriage.
Exactly.
If they're that far away, like at some point, you don't even have to necessarily talk about politics, just different social issues.
Yeah.
When they voice their opinion, it's like, oh, that's how you feel? Like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So So it can go. We've seen it in politics with James Carville and his wife. You know, he worked for Hillary Clinton. I think she worked for Reagan and Bush. Mm-hmm. They've been married for decades, man. So, and like Razio, I think you said with your parents.
Yeah.
So it can work. I just think it would have to be a lot of it have to be a minimum of conversations on it. and like I said, it just can't be too far to the right or like you say to the left, because that can be extreme as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're a tree hugger. Let's go donate all our money to this charity. But
thinking dogs are just as valuable as humans, stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
All right, man. That's hilarious. Well, that was good. That was a good question, man. So I guess being equally yoked and having similar views, at least underlying moral values. I think that's what, like, I have to know your morals and your sense of identity. Like, we can disagree politically, but if you just don't want to help people or you feel like it's just, So it's been a pleasure, fellas. Once again, love this show. I have fun talking to you guys every week. I look forward to it. My wife knows when I have a certain look in my eye that I'm getting ready for my podcast. So thank you guys for being a part of it. We're getting ready to wrap up. Rozzy, tell the people what's on your mind.
Yo, like Ferg said, man, we appreciate all the listens, all the shares, all the likes, all the comments, all the engagement. Keep it up. We're going to keep getting better. I say that every time, but truthfully, when we finish editing and I go back and I listen to the episode, it does feel like every episode is getting better and better and better. We hope y'all feel the same way. So just keep tuning in, keep listening, man, and let us know what you think.
I started the show off on what I was mad about. I'm going to end the show on what I'm mad about. A couple episodes ago, we had a moment of silence with Victor Newman. Come to find out, that was a bold-faced lie. He's alive, and I don't appreciate Young and the Restless running the okie doke on me. So when he does die for real, don't look for Three Brothers No Sense to have any type of moment of silence. That's it.
All right. I want to thank the listeners, all our supporters and people out there for taking time out of their day to listen, share, and talk to us throughout the week.
Yes.
You know, I was on Facebook for maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years. And because of this show, I really find myself on Facebook just wanting to interact with you guys, and our social media posts, just want to interact with you guys constantly. So keep talking to us, keep making my day go by faster. We really appreciate you. Once again, this is Three Brothers No Sense. I'm Tavares Ferguson, my co-host Byron, my co-host Rozzy. Want to thank you. See you guys soon.